If VR is the media, what is the message of the media? The message of virtual reality to me is just three simple things. Entertainment. It's always been entertainment at first. It's being transported to a different universe just by putting on a machine. Video games are a great example. There are tons of games out for virtual reality systems. Many are on different systems. There's the PlayStation VR, Nintendo Labo VR, there's Google Cardboard, Samsung Gear, VR 1100 MR headset, Lenovo Mirage Solo with Daydream VR, Panasonic VR, the Virtual Boy, Google Daydream VR, HTC Vive, and the Oculus Rift. And even the Vive and the Oculus Rift have different versions of it. The Oculus Quest, the Oculus Go, Oculus Rift S, and the PlayStation VR has over 200 games for it. And Steam has multiple pages of VR games. There's tons of entertainment and tons of different things that you can do with your VR systems, such as play games and everything. I think the second message of VR is education. People are using VR to help people learn how to drive, study architecture, people recovering from PTSD, and it helps with doctors just helping people get better. There's been these virtual field trips that many schools have been doing now, where many schools will use the Google Expedition to transport the students to faraway places and even inaccessible parts of the world. Virtual reality simulations can also help students learn practical skills, and one of the biggest benefits of training people in this way is that students can learn from realistic scenarios without the risk of practicing an unfamiliar skill in an uncontrollable environment. Experiments carried out by the Google Daydream Labs found that people who got VR training learned faster and better than those who were merely shown tutorials. The interactive learning experience was aimed at teaching people how to make coffee. And some people were taught how to make coffee by a virtual reality machine, and other students were shown YouTube tutorials. After training for as long as they liked, the students from both groups were to act out making coffee in real life. And the students with VR training were able to understand the situation faster and better than the people that only took the video tutorials. Third message of VR is advertising and using VR for business. There are many companies using VR as a way to get people to interact with their products and their company in general. Companies like All Nippon Airway or ANA, they use it to help market their new cabins in their 777 300ER cabins. They hired a company to create a virtual space and a virtual tour of the new room of the NA's new business cabinet. It's been rolled out at global launch events for press and industry in Tokyo, London, where attendees can be virtually anywhere and still experience the comfort of the cabin firsthand. Users just wearing the headset find themselves in ANA's futuristic holodeck in front of the 777 aircraft. They are then transported into the business class cabin, where they are able to experience new seats features focused around the themes of work, meals, and relaxation. The headset wearers can open and close cabinet doors, order food, change lighting conditions, and watch an in-flight movie, helping them get the full experience just in virtual reality.
In Gene Youngblood's book, The Expanded Cinema, Part 6, Intermedia Multiple Projection Environment. The purpose of an effect of such image flow is both to deal with logical understanding and to penetrate through the unconscious levels to reach for the emotional denominator of all men, the nonverbal basis of human life, wrote Van der Beek in his 1965 manifesto. Virtual reality was a crazy idea to people back in the 50s, but some people tried to capture this experience. Henry Jacobs and Jordan Belson set up what they called the Vortex concerts at Morrison Planetarium in San Francisco Golden Gate Park. The 60-foot dome was surrounded at its perimeter by 36 loudspeakers clustered equally spaced stations of 3 speakers for each station. There were 2 large bass speakers on either side and one at the center of the dome. The speakers were installed in the center room, bringing the total close to 50 sound sources. The vortex did not simply project sound into space, but it employed dimensional direction and auroral perspective and speed of movement as musical resources. Jordan controlled the performance with the parameters of timed images as the music started, with the brightness and the speed of rotation and speed of enlargement changing throughout. Henry would control the loudness of the sound, the equalization of the sound, and the spatial awareness of the sound. Approximately 100 Vortex concerts went on, including 2 weeks at the 1958 Brussels World Fair, and in 1960 the planetarium withdrew its support and the vortex ended without ever realizing its full potential. You could hear any sound no matter how far away, as though it was right behind you, because sound carried over the dome. In addition, Belson supervised the installation for special interfaces, patterns, projections that would add to the hundreds of projection devices already assembled. He says one of his greatest pleasures was working with the Star Machine. At some point when the entire dome was bathed in a kind of deep red, as the color began to fade away, there was a point where it would overlap with the beautiful starry sky. Jacob recalls it being such a absurdly perfect situation that we just stopped altogether after we left the planetarium. And when you begin with the ultimate, there's nowhere else to go.